All right. Hey, Bibs.
Hi.
Episode 1, the Monochrome Memoirs.
Correct.
We're finally here. We thought this would be a good way for you guys to get information about what we do while you're driving your car.
Right.
Or doing whatever at the gym.
Yeah. I listen to podcasts a lot when I'm driving.
Me too. I listen to podcasts all the freaking time.
Yeah.
I used to read a lot, but now it's just audiobooks and podcasts.
I still read a lot.
Yeah, you do. You like the reading. I can't get into it. I can't consume information like that.
Yeah, I have to read. I like to read. I like to read at night because when I read at night, it helps me to fall asleep. But I put it on dark mode.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
And you read when we get in fights, right?
I do, yep. I do.
All right, so just a disclaimer. Obviously, we don't know what the hell we're doing right now. This is the first time we've ever recorded anything like this. And, we're just going to try and keep it short and sweet for you guys with real information that we've learned.
Right.
You know, stuff that is actionable, real, useful stuff.
Yep, definitely.
I think Sarah can bring like a different component to this because, you know, she sees things a little bit differently than me. And she also has like a big, extensive knowledge about like starting off and like how she got into this. So
yeah, definitely. It was something.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. So today we want to talk about
basically how our first wedding.
Our first wedding.
Yeah.
And how we got into this and exactly what you new guys, can expect getting into weddings, because it's probably always the same with most people. So I don't know. Do you want me to start?
It's up to you. I mean, sure.
All right. So I'll tell you guys how we first got the first job. Or actually, let me back up a little bit. How we got into weddings. I had been photographing for a long time, for years before I met Sarah. And then, obviously during our relationship, I used to photograph a lot of stuff, did a lot of landscape, fine art stuff, used to sell in galleries, stuff like that, had people buy like fine art prints. And then when we got married, we hired a photographer. Remember him?
Yeah, our photographer for our wedding.
Yeah.
Steve Stan.
Steve Stan, he was great. We got married in Colorado in the mountains.
Steve was awesome.
It was like 15 people in the mountains, and our photographer was from Colorado. So we hired this guy, and he came to the wedding, shot the wedding, and during that whole time, I'm thinking, I could freaking do this.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, I was too. I mean, he really made the day. There's so much that goes into a wedding day. It's not, just taking the photos either. And watching him communicate with us and work with us, I was like, wow, this is really cool. I would love to do what he does.
Exactly. And it didn't seem that complicated because I had been photographing for a while.
Yeah.
I'm just going to move this mic. Sorry if it gives interference for you guys. So I had been photographing for a while using D700 and D810, stuff like that. But, I mean, when we saw what he was doing, we were like, we can fucking do this. It's not that complicated.
Right. Well, should we tell everyone where I started photographing?
Well, let's get into that. So anyways, so we got married. We had a honeymoon, 2 weeks in the Rockies with our kids.
Yeah.
And then after that, once we got home, I was like, honey, I have an idea here. I'm going to start doing weddings because I saw what Steve's doing and I know that I can bring an artistic aspect to this.
Yep.
And I know I can do it. And you were like super, super supportive of the idea. Because at first, I didn't think that you would want to do this with me. So what I did was I went online, I Googled all the top photographers in Boston or top wedding photographers in Boston. I sent them all emails telling them what I wanted to do and asking if I could come second shoot with them. And a few of them got back to me, but only one actually brought me to a wedding. So I went to a wedding with that person, got it under my belt, saw what it was like, because I only had been to 2 weddings in my entire life before that, and one of them was my own. I'd never
I've been in 6 weddings.
Yeah, so she knew, but I had no idea anything about wedding days. Yep. So anyways, I got on second shot. I came home after that wedding and I was like, baby, you're going to do this with me and I'm going to teach you how to do it.
Right.
So you can go ahead and tell them your experience with this and exactly what happened there.
Well, I guess we can start. So photography for me started when I was younger. I mean, it was something that I always wanted to do, but I started out at Picture People. Kind of like
portraits of dogs and newborns.
Well, my portraits were of my dog, my boxer Coco, and I was like, I can do this. This is fun. I sucked. it wasn't like the best.
Basic.
Yeah, it was very
Sears type
basic.
photos.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was cool because I got to be like in a dark room and kind of like develop photos and stuff, which was really cool. And then that started to develop my love for photography, and I like went out and bought like, you know, I just was getting cameras and like throwaway cameras, and I started taking pictures of like the ocean and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting, when digital cameras came out, I got my first one. I paid like, I don't know, $300 for it, saved up my money, got it, and then made like a collage of all these photos. I went to the library, I read
I wish
books.
we still had those photos.
I wish we did too. I've moved so much different apartments, and I got rid of them, but I also did like I don't know,
so landscape stuff and
landscape
stuff like
stuff
that.
like
So you
that.
had a little bit of experience, you know, posing people and actually just, you know, going around and taking shots.
Yeah, and I loved it. I thought it was really cool, and I was reading books. That's where I was reading books at the library about, you know, photography.
Exposure.
Yeah,
and
exposure
aperture.
and stuff, which, whatever. So, so then I kind of found you on social media. Like, your photography was what really drew me to you, and began, you know, me stalking you on on Facebook.
You can't see for you guys listening, but
Yeah.
I'm brushing off my shoulder right now.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this guy's really cool, and I love his work, and I could probably learn from him. So, then you know, long story
Decided to do
short,
weddings.
you came home one day, and you told me that's what you wanted to do, and I was nervous, but I knew I had to get out of my comfort zone, because it's something that we wanted to do together, was grow a business, and we both had the love for photography, so why not? Let's try it out. And the first wedding was very, very fun and interesting.
Well, so
And
just to
great.
preface, before you start getting into this, like, that's one thing you guys have to remember, is these new guys, like, you have to push yourself out of the comfort zone, because weddings are insane, and there's so many, like, there's an alluring side. If you're like more artistic, you can create, there's so many moments, emotional connections. It's like weddings are the place where so many emotional available opportunities for photos are, but they're obviously freaking crazy, and people do not screw around when it comes to their timelines, and they don't really have a lot of patience if you screw up. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong. So we are just the type of people that when we want to do something, we just go head first into it. We don't think about all the things that could go wrong. We just think about what we want and the end goal, and we just figure out how to get there. So together, we didn't know what we were doing with weddings. I mean, we had been shooting for or at least I had been shooting for a long time, and we knew how to work our cameras, but it wasn't anything that we were comfortable with.
No, I mean, I had that big lug of a camera, the D700, and you know, I have these small little hands.
She's tiny. You're 4'11".
Yeah, it was quite interesting. But I must say that some of my favorite photos that I've taken thus far have come from that wedding.
Yeah. From
the first wedding. I mean, that flower girl photo was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, I love the 85. The lens, and I use that a lot, and I know that I was using that day with the D700. So yeah, I mean, I don't play around when it comes to schedules either, as far as like what our kids are concerned and what's going on, and so I knew that I could probably figure that out. I knew that I could make the bride feel comfortable. I had been a bride before. I've been to weddings, so I knew pretty much how the flow would go. Though that day the wedding was kind of a little chaotic.
That was insane.
Yeah,
but
some
like
things
without
happened.
getting too far off the course, like basically the idea is if you feel a passion for this, you should just do what we did and just get into it.
Well,
you know
that's
what I'm saying?
for
Just
anything,
do
not
it.
just photography. Yeah, but that's how you should do in life. You need to jump at something you feel is important to you and you're passionate about. Absolutely.
100%.
I mean, that's something we tell our kids too, is like, if you're passionate about something, go for it and see how it works. I mean, this worked for us, and you have to do that.
So we took on the first bride. We found them. I put up an ad on Craigslist. That's like, I feel like everybody starts on Craigslist. You know?
I forgot that.
Yeah, so I put it up on Craigslist.
Oh,
I said basically, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of landscape and fine artwork, but I have no wedding stuff. So
Right.
hire me, take a chance on me, because I know I can do this. One couple got back to me, and they were, what, 3.5 hours away there having the wedding?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
3.5 hours away. We took the job for $160. That was it. They paid us $160. Okay? So
Yep.
we just went there, and we got there. We drove 3.5 hours. We got a hotel.
Yep.
With the gas and the hotel and everything, we basically lost money.
Yeah.
And so
and I had to buy a shirt because it was freezing out up in the mountains.
Yeah,
and I had a
exactly.
tank top on, and I was like,
she's always either too cold or too hot.
I was like, there's no way I can go to this wedding without a sweater. So we lost
Yeah.
money on that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was just losing money all
Yeah.
around. It sucked. And so anyways, so we get there, we do the wedding, or we get to the wedding, and it's just an absolute mess. I mean, anybody who's going to pay $160 for a photographer is obviously just, they're a mess. Their wedding's going to be crazy.
the bride was missing for a couple hours.
The bride showed up, what, 3 hours late?
3 hours late.
3 hours late for the ceremony.
Yeah.
She was, I don't know if she was on drugs, but it seemed like she was,
She was
on something.
She was.
But I don't want to accuse. She was very nice.
Yeah,
she's very nice.
She's very sweet.
Yeah, she's very sweet. But she was
sweet,
just, she was a mess.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, we did this wedding. We got some pretty good shots.
We got some great shots.
Yeah, I mean, really, for our first one,
Great.
The point is, guys, is when you're doing your first wedding, you just have to deal with chaos, because weddings are absolute chaos. Even if you've been photographing for a long time,
True.
people are just nuts. They've never been, most of them have never been married before. They're running around, they don't know the time schedule, and you just jump into it. So if you're not the type of person that can deal with chaos and stress, you're going to have to figure out how you can do it, because there's no way that it's going to be easy doing your first wedding.
If I can give you advice on how to deal with chaos, in that is to go in with confidence.
Yeah.
You have to go in and act like you know
Pretend
what you're
like you know what you're doing. Yeah.
You've been there. You've done 100 weddings before. You know what's going on. If you don't go in with confidence, then, I mean, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
So I went in with confidence, like, I got this.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. Like, and it started to flow like that. It really worked out really well. I mean, our shots were beautiful from that.
They were cool, and one
Yeah.
of the benefits of like starting off just in the beginning is you're not too obsessed with the timeline. You're more looking at moments. Like Sarah and I, our photography for weddings, it's really, we do the least amount of posing as possible. We really try and create like an atmosphere of like, all right, let's do a few formals. Let's do like 10% or 8% detail shots, and then the rest we focus on the story and the moments that are unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're new, you can do that because you're not too obsessed with the timeline.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're just focus on what's happening in front of you. And if you go in like that, then you don't have to be, Mr. Perfect timeline wedding or anything like that. You just look for the things that are unfolding.
Right. I mean, every wedding, there's chaos. I mean, even if you've done your 500th wedding, there's still chaotic. I mean, things still happen. You're not always prepared for everything.
Never.
I mean, in any type of, like, the day, I mean, some brides they have things, I did a PDF, I did this, it's still something happened. So, I mean, just go into it confidently and take pride in your work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really important.
And so we got some really good shots from that, but the most important thing is it built up our portfolio and it built up our confidence to the point where we knew that, okay, it can't get much worse than that. You know what I'm saying? So we know that we can handle it from now on. And, then what we started doing is we just started raising our prices $300 for every single wedding we booked after that. I mean, we hit the ground running. So after we did the first wedding, what we did was we came back, did a couple styled shoots for our friends.
Yep.
There's a couple styled shoots. I had Sarah get back in her wedding dress, and I shot some stuff.
We did some free stuff.
We built up, we just built up a portfolio of, like, it doesn't need to be 1 million weddings, guys.
No.
You don't need that.
Nope.
You just need, like, maybe 4 or 5, like, different types of, like, people in dresses and wedding-esque photos to put in your
Even
portfolio.
family portraits too, because that's important, because we did a lot of family portraits, and that just shows how we got creative. I mean, we get creative with all photos. It's not just wedding photos. I mean,
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yep. So,
but the idea, you just create some type of portfolio as fast as you can, and then as soon as you have the portfolio, then you start raising your prices. You start jacking them up. At least $300 for every single wedding.
Yeah.
And then we were by the end of our first year, we had quadrupled our prices. And we were starting off at like $1,500 to $1,650.
Right.
And then after the end of the first year, we were over $4,000.
Yeah. And it's just funny because it's like, I even remembered like sitting on our couch. Will and I had a few apartments, and we bought our house in Plymouth, and it was really cute and small, and we were sitting out on the porch that was enclosed, and someone had reached out to us via Facebook, and it was like, we were like, oh my gosh, okay, well, this is it, we gotta raise our price from $160, and I was like, well, let's say $600. And
no, it was 800. It was 800.
Oh, it was 800?
The second one we booked was 800.
It was 800?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was 800.
For like 10 hours.
Yeah, for 10 hours. And
we're like, are you seriously going to pay us that much? We'll do it.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, oh my God, girl, seriously? Yeah. I was like, yeah. And so yeah.
So you got to grind in the
excited.
Beginning. Don't expect to be like, ripping prices right off the bat. But, if you're good and you pick up on this fast, you can jack your prices up pretty quick once you get a portfolio going.
Yeah.
Because, in the beginning, if you don't have much of a portfolio, you got to be honest with these people and tell them where you're at. Just tell them that you're learning and stuff. But after that, once you got a few under your belt and you know what you're doing, shit.
Yeah.
Weddings are not easy, guys. And the only reason you should be discounting your prices is if you're learning and trying to build up a portfolio. Yeah. Other than that, weddings are extremely difficult. They're a lot of work, and you should be compensated for it.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't really discounts are few and far in between.
Yeah, we do a military discount.
Yeah, but it is very, very difficult. Some of these brides, I know that they want gorgeous photos, and everyone's out to, they want to pay less, but it really comes back to your quality of work and who you are as human beings, because,
that's a good point, the human beings, because the quality of work, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But the experience of working with us, me and Sarah, is it's a whole different level. Our highest prices are always the people who come from referrals from people's weddings that we've already done.
Yep.
Because they rave about the experience with us. It's not just the photos are beautiful. It was these people made us feel so comfortable. They were fun. Yeah. We loved having them around. Yeah. And like I just said, it's an experience.
Yeah. And I understand when people can't afford our price. I get that. But we're not going to lower our price because we bring so much to the table. Right. I'm out there sewing dresses.
Yeah, bustling everybody.
I'm fixing hair. I'm doing makeup. The wedding we were just at, who is one of my really good friends, Jeannie from, I love her dearly. I had her niece on my hip. I'm carrying her. We had things going down, and it was like, whatever you need, I'm here to help you. I got kids on my back. I got a list, and we have
I'm putting boutonnieres on for people.
Yeah, we have a blast, and it's fun. So we want our couples to feel like we're part of their family and their friends, and we're people that they can rely on. We're not just people here to do a job and get it over with. That's not who we are.
Exactly. And that's the thing is a lot of photographers nowadays, that's what they do. They just show up. They just, that first one that I went to a wedding with to second shoot for, she's a very good photographer, but she did not really get in and engage with the couple to the level that we do. It was not even close to what we do with these couples now. And I think that's the reason why we grew so fast. Our portfolio was good, but I really believe that it was the actual experience of working with us that made people, prices a little bit secondary. And that was why we were able to more than quadruple, really, within the first year.
Yeah, that's really important to people. Even for me too, I'm a very personable person. I always say, I've coached gymnastics for years, and that's very personal to me. That's personal work. And, I work with kids a lot, and I work with people a lot. So even having someone with me, I want to feel like they're there for me, and they can help me out too. Like it's just very personal. Weddings are very personal,
They are.
and
Yeah.
I'm just
and they're
that
scary
type.
for the people. So
Yeah,
they
they're
want somebody
scary.
they can trust.
And I'm that type of person, anyways. That's who I am. I'm a lover and a caregiver. That's what I do. So
You're a teacher.
Yeah, I'm a teacher.
You're
So
a teacher.
it's just what, people want, and I wanted that at my wedding, and that goes back to Steve Stanton. When he came to us, he made me feel so comfortable. He knew what was going on.
Right.
He was like, this is where you're gonna go. Like, I mean, you rely so much on your photographer for timeline. I mean, we're with you most of the day, the whole day. Yeah. Yeah.
So a lot of you new guys out there, I know there's a lot of people that are new that are following the channel, and probably a lot of new people that's gonna be listening to the podcast too. And even the guys, I have a lot of pros that are on the channel. This helps you guys too. It's just, remember that you need to go above and beyond. I've said this on the channel in a couple of my videos. Under promise, over deliver with everything, and you will grow exponentially. I mean, exponentially. The growth will be there, but it's not going to be just by your work. You cannot. There's a lot of people out there that are putting out great photos nowadays. I mean, there really are.
There is.
A lot of great photographers.
Yeah, I've been out there looking and seeing a lot of stuff, but I mean, also don't lower your prices because someone is asking you to do that. Don't do that, because you feel like you're like, oh, okay, well, when you're first starting out, you're like, well, what if we just go to this price, or if we lower it here or here, it's not worth it.
You have really somebody that's offering you business, you want to take it because you feel like it's going to be like, missed opportunity. But the thing is you don't, most of the time you don't want those brides that just want a discount. They don't give, photography's like,
trust me,
you don't want, they don't look at you like you're a professional. They don't look at you like you deserve respect. They
just hire you and you're someone that works for them
because they think they should have it.
Right. Exactly. And that's not how photography or our service is.
You don't want to compete on the price.
No.
Yeah,
no. I mean, and if people can't afford your price, then someone will be able to afford your price. There is that, you want to be in that higher range anyways, because those, like we're saying, those are the brides that you want. I mean, and it's, Yeah,
there's people out there that can afford your price, and you just need to connect with them.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Listen, guys, we didn't want this to ramble on too much. Like I said, we're going to focus on making this like short, actionable content, stuff that you guys can really use, right, babes?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love to chat.
I know. We're gonna try and rein it in, because me and Sarah can go off on rants and tangents and everything like that. We're not gonna get too political or anything like that.
Oh gosh, I could get political. Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
If there's anything too that you guys like want to
hear us talk
about, or there's something that like you want me to talk about that, like, because I'm new to the channel and stuff, if there's something that like you have questions for me, you can ask. I'd love to answer your questions for sure.
Definitely. Sarah can bring a whole different dynamic to this stuff, even because I know that there's some ladies on the channel too. So if you guys have any questions for Sarah, any questions for me, stuff you want us to talk about on these podcasts, keep it coming. You guys have been awesome sending emails and everything. We just love having like a community of people that we can talk to about photography, because there's no it's great. We just want to teach. So like I said, guys, we are going to keep this short and sweet. Hopefully you got something out of this.
Yeah, and watch as we transform.
We're going to get some, what we're doing next is we're going to print out a bunch of our wedding photos.
Yeah.
And we're going to put them behind us. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see. But we're going to get the studio kind of transformed and everything. But yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching or listening. And we will be putting out tons more content soon.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, talk soon.